It's an absolute pleasure to be having John Gerhshensen from Gerhshensen. John has been working with co-founder Ben Savanen to build a distributed manufacturing company that uses digital manufacturing to localize supply chains. They're focused on organizations that serve the public and have launched in Kenya. John has a PhD in mechanical engineering and has been a university professor, most recently a professor at Penn State Humanitarian Engineering and Social Entrepreneurship Program. In addition to Gerhshensen, he has started one of other businesses in Kenya, such as a manufacturing bicycle, a service that manufactures bicycle accessories. He has over 15 years of experience in product and process design, consulting, and research in the bicycle, automotive, consumer goods, and heavy machinery industries. Thank you, John, for joining us today. Over to you. One moment.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think it's pretty funny that you put me right after John as well. So we're coming at it from two different points of view. Gerhshensen as well, though, is born from the maker movement. Absolutely, that's where our roots are. And I think anybody that comes from that that movement has to believe in open source as a general philosophy, most definitely. And while I come at it from a different perspective, I think I agree with 99% of what John just said. So let's see. So Gerhshensen, what we do is we set up distributed digital manufacturing facilities, and then we link them with centralized engineering and centralized quality control. So what we do basically is give institutions and organizations the ability to get local the products and services that they actually need, whether it's spare parts, whether it's spare products, whatever they need in order to serve the people that they serve. So we always say, we don't help the people, we help the people who help the people. That's a little confusing, but that's our internal thing. So what we think we do is we are bringing greater access to global supply chain by bringing manufacturing to places where it normally wouldn't be. Obviously, digital manufacturing is relatively low cost compared to large scale mass manufacturing. And because we go with smaller manufacturing facilities, we distribute them in order to localize them, and then we centralize the quality control and the engineering to make that happen. So we set up our first, as Christina said, we set up our first hub in Kenya, in Kisumu, in Western Kenya. We've made, I don't know, that it just got set up in January, mid-January, fantastic timing. And then everything hit, and then we converted everything over to PPE and other sorts of products that make sense. I think we've put out in the last 5 weeks, maybe 3,000 units that we've supplied to people in the region where we are. Again, trying to stay as local as we possibly can. So whether it's spare parts for machines and equipment that they can't get, or products, that's kind of what we do. So let's see. So a couple points that I want to make, and it was much easier to go after John than before John, to tell you the truth. So we have the belief that we're kind of born from this idea that institutions and organizations and governments as well, and other companies, they were not able to get products from makers. They do require an element of quality assurance, of due diligence, of regulatory approvals, etc. So that's where we step in. Not that there's not a need for the other, but that's where we step in. They have to have those in place. We are firm believers in quality assurance through the entire design process, and most importantly, through the manufacturing. While you can have phenomenal designs, digital manufacturing really forces this idea where each product that comes off the line is potentially slightly different from the one that came off before it. And that's where we step in, is trying to maintain that quality assurance as we go in. So, so because we are a business, so we are a for-profit social business, absolutely. So we require funding in order to keep going. We have employees, we have a facility, and our idea is to scale those facilities all over. So we've had some investment funding, both local to East Africa and from the US, myself and co-founder are US born, at least, and not based, but US born. One of the things that's really helped us get funding, I think, is collaborating with other organizations and institutions. There's a lot of fantastic people doing a lot of different things with a different spin. We're very big on let's not recreate the wheel. Where somebody else is excellent at it, let's bring in funding for them to continue to be excellent or be even more excellent at what they do. And maybe that can help what we do. For funding though, what funding agencies are really looking for is what you're doing, is it real? Like, is it already up and running? This is not a time to be taking a huge risk on something that's not real, right? People need help, and in times, so you need proven results, I think. Is it sustainable? So are we just helping get X number of face shields to people, or are we creating something that has legs, it has a future? I think that's really important, and that's the message we tend to try to get out is, like, this is the beginning. I think it's really interesting, perhaps, for a lot of us. All of a sudden, I woke up. I've been trying to tell the story of what Kajinsi does, digital manufacturing, localization, all around the world, and nobody gets the story. And then all of a sudden, I woke up one day, and like everybody's aunt is telling stories about 3D printing face shields, and I don't have to tell the story. Like, everybody gets a story overnight. That's fantastic. But there's a really big difference between a person in their garage 3D printing a face shield and being able to do it through an approved facility, using approved designs, sanitization process that we use in order to deliver to hospitals, etc. So I think that's a key point. And always thinking about this idea, should we make it? Should we design it? And if we do, how do we deliver it? I think John brought up a really interesting point. You can't just deliver a product, you need to deliver a product wrapped in information, because products used incorrectly can be more dangerous sometimes, depending upon what the product is. Yeah, so I think one of the things that an organization such as ours does is we're able to decrease the risk of getting new manufacturing processes into place and new products into place for these institutions and organizations. Yeah, maybe that's it for now.
Wonderful, incredible story and experience.